What's up, Go community? On this week's episode of The Gaming Outsider, Zack, CB, and myself sit down to talk about games that grade you on how you play. In news, we're going to discuss Sony's PS5 reveal, as well as IGN's Summer of Games Expo, and finally, EA's Star Wars Squadrons. We saw the trailer for that today. New games discussed include a shmup called Rigid Force Redux, and I played a Metroidvania called Outbuddies DX. The countdown for The Last of Us Part 2 has officially begun. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 299 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, June 15th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Zack Parkerson.
Hey, man. How's it going? How are you feeling, Scott?
I'm feeling pretty good. Man. It's been a pretty quiet week, actually. Finally, now that I'm officially on summer vacation.
There you go.
Kind of enjoying it now.
Finally.
Actually got some gaming in today. It's been kind of good. Also joining us, Chris Behrensmeyer.
What up, nerds?
How you been, man?
I'm tired. It's been a long couple days.
Has it? What's been going on?
Just stuff around the house.
I hear ya. Zack, I don't know if we told you or if we talked about it in Discord, but CB and I were melting metal the other day. Did we tell you about that?
Why?
Because
he's got like 12 or 13 bags of aluminum cans in his garage that his wife wanted cleared out. So instead of, just taking them down to the recycling place and getting, 25 cents a pound for them or whatever, he's got a homemade forge at home, and we fired it up with charcoal and melted aluminum cans down to liquid and then poured them into muffin tins to make little ingots. It's kind of fun. Felt kind of manly for that day.
What does CB not own?
I know.
Hey, I made it myself. I didn't go out and buy it. So
it is homemade. It's like a bucket with a hole in the side and a pipe attached to it with a hairdryer attached to the end to keep air flowing through the bottom of it to keep it as hot as possible.
Wow.
It was an interesting experience. I had never done that before. CB got to laugh at me because I've never done it before, and sometimes there was a little bit of like liquid in the can, and when you just put that in there at high temperature, it just kind of pops. And, sudden noises like that have made me a little jumpy lately.
He's a little startled. Sure.
And, so one of them is actually on video. When I took a video of it, it was pretty funny. I tried to post it on Discord, but the file was too big to share, so I'll have to text it to you later. Anyway, that is your metal minute on The Gaming Outsider.
Right. The standard, our format every week says there needs to be a metal minute.
Metal minute. You see, if Nate were here, that would be a completely different kind of metal that we'd be talking about.
Yeah.
Metal Wednesdays. Anyway, I do want to give a shout out to our community managers who have put together a community game night. So if you would like to do some gaming with us, we've got one on the calendar for Saturday, June 27th. That is a little over 2 weeks from now. About 8 o'clock, we're going to be getting together. I know I'm going to be there for sure on Xbox playing Minecraft Dungeons, and I need 3 players with me because I had some fun with that, but I get the feeling that game is going to be a lot more fun with people. So if you are interested in playing that, hit me up. I will be creating an event on Facebook for that, and we'll try. Obviously, we can only have 4 to a team, but we'll split up and have multiple groups if we need to. So again, Saturday, June 27th at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, Minecraft Dungeons, and also I'm going to be looking for players for Borderlands 1. The remastered version. I got a copy of it, and I've been itching to play that. I'm gonna give CJ Moore some crap because he bought a copy of it to play with me and still has yet to meet up with me. He bailed on me the first night we did it, but it was for family reasons, so it's okay. But I still got to give him a hard time. We still have to play Borderlands 3 too at some point. So I got.
Does Borderlands 1 count if we play that?
It counts as Borderlands for sure. I say that totally works, but
I still got to play a Borderlands game.
You've never played a Borderlands game?
We've talked about this multiple times. Like okay. I've played maybe 1 to 2 hours of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, so Borderlands 1 Remastered is on sale for like $10 right now. you should pick up a copy and we'll play. We need to schedule some time to play. But before we get too deep into this, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Okay, so there is a ton of news to talk about this week. It is basically E3 week without it being E3. So I'm going to run down here and just kind of give you the quick idea of what happened this week, and then you guys can tell me what you want to talk about. First off, some new games and trailers that were announced. EA's Star Wars Squadrons. We actually saw the trailer for that today. A game called Foreclosed. Also, we saw Transformers Battlegrounds, a remake for the game 13, and then we got a glimpse of Far Cry 6 with the trailer to be revealed on July 12th. Also, this week was IGN Summer of Gaming 2020 event and their first Expo stream with several trailers and reveals. Lots to unpack there. And then, as we all know, Sony rescheduled their PS5 live stream event, and it took place this past Thursday. Lots of trailers and obviously the PS5 reveal. And some other news, AT&T wants to sell Warner Brothers Interactive for $4 billion. And also we found out that we may be seeing some more Blood Rain and Advent Rising coming back. So lots and lots of things to talk about. Where do you guys want to start?
Star Wars, man, right?
Thank you.
How are we not all jazzed to be X-Wing and TIE pilots?
Well,
it looks so good.
I was about to say, I texted Scott immediately, and I'm like, this is everything I want in a Star Wars game.
Well, it's easy to say that. Keep in mind, we haven't seen any gameplay yet. That was very much a CG trailer. I
would say, I think the key art was great for the game.
Mm-hmm. Pilots wanted.
Yes, the trailer was CG, so it's fine. But CG trailers just don't get me jazzed. But I'm still over the moon excited for the game because the idea of it is brilliant.
I hope this becomes a series, because I would just be all over flight combat games in the Star Wars universe. So what do we know about it so far? It takes place after Return of the Jedi. There's going to be a full single-player campaign and a full co-op campaign, both of which are playable 100% in PlayStation VR or on PC VR as well. And then it looks like I'm getting the impression that the multiplayer is going to be 5-on-5, like 5 of Rebel and 5 Imperial. That's the impression I get from the trailer. Guys, this could get me back into multiplayer gaming. This could be.
That's exactly where my brain went. I was like, finally a multiplayer game for me.
Mm-hmm. What sounds super interesting to me is that it's not just fly around and shoot enemies. You know, there's actually mechanics built in where you're able to divert power in your vehicle to different places that, you know, like if you want to put it in the shields or you want to divert power from this and that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but the idea of it being actual like flight sim stuff going on and trying to, I don't know, that just sounds awesome.
Again, like I said, everything I want in a Star Wars game.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see an actual gameplay trailer at EA's event, which is, when is that, Zach? Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, June 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm eagerly anticipating the trailer.
Delicious.
That's what I'm expecting. We'll just be like texting each other, you know?
Yeah.
Over what we're seeing. Do you see Hera Syndulla and Wedge Antilles in the trailer? It's pretty exciting.
Yes.
I saw Wedge, and yeah, Hera was there as well. It's it's gonna be really cool. I hope the story's good too, and I hope there's not a whole lot of protect this missions. I hated those in the Rogue Squadron games where you had to keep the fighters off of this thing. If it takes too much damage, you lose the mission. I hate those kinds of missions in flight games.
Well,
I feel like they don't really.
I was going to say it looks very much like there's going to be those missions.
Yeah. I was going to say I don't really feel like they. Can't really think of games that have those missions anymore, escort missions.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of flight combat games anymore, really.
I'm just thinking because we used to complain about escort missions all the time back in like the PS2 and Xbox era, or even the 360. Like, I just feel that game developers have finally maybe wisened up that nobody wants those.
Yeah. They fixed it. Remember those follow missions in the Assassin's Creed games?
Right.
That everybody was, I mean, they were really cool in terms of like a fun way to hear the story and hear the conversations, but that gameplay just got so old so quick, especially if you couldn't skip them. Like if you failed and had to do it over again and hear the whole conversation over again.
Yeah, it sucked.
Anyway, I'm glad you picked Star Wars because that that got me so giddy with excitement. And it's only $39.99. Now, some people are freaking out and saying that that's making them worried because it's a budget price. Does that bother you, or do you think that it's... Here's my thing. I think that this game is primarily going to be the multiplayer thing, and the campaign is going to be a very short campaign, is my guess.
Yeah, the $40 price tag to me just said, 5-hour campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Which is in line with its EA Motive, who did the campaign for Battlefront 2, which is also pretty short.
So here's the thing. We all have to get it on the same platform, right?
So.
Yeah, I guess.
We got to play it together. No, not PlayStation.
You guys always make me get Xbox.
When's the last time we made you get an Xbox game? When's the last time you played an Xbox game with us?
Well, hey, you're going to make me play Borderlands on Xbox.
Oh, you mean that one I bought you?
Yeah.
I bought you that copy of Borderlands 3. And
I'll buy you Squadrons on PS4 if you freaking play it with me.
Though I will say I may be more inclined to agree with Zach on this one because I can play the game in VR.
VR, yeah.
You lose this time, Scott Clark.
Oh, man, the three of us in VR together flying through missions?
Yeah,
that sounds pretty cool.
It would be 4 a.m. before we realize what's happening.
I know.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can't talk about Star Wars the whole time. CB, what story do you want to talk about?
Oh my God, dude, there's so many trailers. I was just watching through all the ones from... you and I watched the PlayStation 5 one together.
Mm-hmm. Which I wish you guys could have been there because CB was actually impressed with this thing. By the end of it, he was really impressed with it.
Well,
you know how...
I gave it a B. So
you did? Until you found out what we learned about Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, B-.
Wait, what? That it's a standalone?
Well, that it's a expansion. I wanted just a whole new game.
Okay.
Well, it will be a new game.
I've seen this a lot online. People being disappointed that it's standalone expansion, but The Last of Us Left Behind, excellent. Infamous First Light, excellent. Horizon Frozen Wilds, excellent. Like, PlayStation has a history of making some pretty excellent expansion games.
Well, and plus, like you said, Lost Legacy.
Right,
that was a meaty title. I mean, that wasn't like a super short game. That was decently length. What, like 8 hours?
I just replayed it. It took me 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still sticking by B- because of 2 specific trailers in the very beginning, which I just gave them a 0 for. Because
the GTA thing?
The GTA and Gran Turismo.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, look, games that already exist.
Yeah, Gran Turismo is 7, right? I mean, that's a new Gran Turismo.
No, it already exists.
Is Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation 4 already?
I believe so.
I could have swore that was only Gran Turismo 6 that we were up to. I have to find out. Well, what's funny is the Rockstar logo was like the first thing that popped up.
Dude, okay. Quick. I immediately thought Agent was coming back.
Agent?
Do you guys remember Agent?
No.
Vaguely.
It was supposed to be a PS3 exclusive Rockstar game. It was supposed to be an espionage thriller set in the 1970s. But it just went away, got like quietly canceled. And for years, they would ask like Kaz Hirai or Shuya Yoshida, like, hey, what's going on with Agent? They would always say, well, we have no idea. You got to ask Rockstar about that. And then those same journalists would ask Rockstar, like the Hauser brothers, they'd be like, we have no idea what's going on with that. You'd have to ask Sony. So it's just a game that seems to get canceled via miscommunication. I was like, Agent's coming back! It's like, no, Grand Theft Auto Online, baby.
Well, everybody else on the internet thought it was Grand Theft Auto 6, which, in my mind, there was no way that was going to be shown. That's so far down the line at this point. But yeah. I think the thing that most people were disappointed in is that it was Grand Theft Auto 5, because who at this point hasn't played that game and wants to play it again in updated graphics? Like, is this the first game to ever span 3 console generations? Because I played it on 360. And it's been on Xbox One, obviously, and now it's going to be on PS5.
It's got to be the only active game, right?
Yes.
So like Resident Evil 4, that's been on 3 console generations now. Or what?
Right.
I guess well, but you know what I mean, like, or like Another World or something. Pac-Man,
Something that was remastered. This isn't remastered. I mean, it's up-resed.
right? No,
I guess
but it's the same.
Semantics.
It's like the same game. You know, like you can guarantee Minecraft will also join this club.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. But no, you are right though. Gran Turismo 7 hasn't come out yet. We are on 6. But
Okay.
I can understand your confusion. There was a 7th Gran Turismo game, Sport.
Yes,
So
Sport is the one I was thinking of. There's just I feel that Sony is doing what Microsoft did last generation, like this current generation. There seems to be a lot more focus on indie titles. The fact that the PS5 is being packed with a media remote.
Yeah, I actually laughed out loud when I saw that.
And I'm not. I like the way the console looks standing up, even though it is the worst popped collar I've ever seen. But when you lay this thing down, it looks so hideous.
I really don't like the look of it laying down, and that's unfortunate because I don't have room to stand up these consoles in my entertainment center. Especially with that PS5, if you look at it compared to this, because we haven't seen it actually side by side, but somebody took one to scale using the disk drive as a keystone, basically, and it towers over an Xbox One X or a regular PS4.
It towers over the PS3, which is the largest PlayStation to date.
Well, that was large because it was fat, but yeah,
it was still taller than the PS4 standing up.
And there's no way that thing's going to stand up. So it's going to have to look like that. At the end of the day, I really don't care what my console looks like.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's freaking horrific looking, but it ultimately doesn't matter because I will put a disc into it and the game will go.
Remember how weird we thought the PS4 looked with like the club sandwich thing?
I mean, I still think the PS4 looks dumb,
but
it just doesn't
look weird on my shelf. The thing that weirds me out about what it looks like is that it's white. There's a lot of white. I feel like it will stand out more on my shelf, which is maybe what they're going for. But I just like the black consoles.
It looked like middle school art students had to imagine what a video game console in 2050 would look like.
Yes, but enough about the stupid console. Right.
Why is it a stupid console? I'm excited about it.
It looks dumb.
I also think it's going to be way expensive. I think it's going to be more expensive than we think.
I'm agreeing with you.
You know what else it comes packed with, by the way?
Huh?
You know what else it comes packed with, by the way?
Astro's Playroom.
Yes. Which got me super excited for a minute, like another Astrobot rescue mission, but this one's not in VR. But apparently, this is a very, very small game. It's used to show what the controller can do, because there's going to be new components in the controller. So that was kind of a bummer. That's going to be a glorified tech demo, but hopefully it's fun at least.
Well, what do you expect for PlayStation users to finally have triggers? But that aside, man, I am beyond excited for Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, game looks awesome.
Here's the funny thing about that reveal, Zach, is I had no idea what I was watching. And I'm trying to take notes. I'm trying to post stuff on social media and get trailers out. And he stands up. He's sitting on a chair or a couch or whatever. He stands up and points at the screen and says, "I saw an Umbrella logo." And so I just immediately posted Resident Evil 8 just in case it was right, and it was. It wound up being Resident Evil 8, but I think we had to jump on that one a little bit.
And then they took the section from Village and extended Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then see Chris Redfield.
So proud I called. I was watching with someone and I was like, I think this is Resident Evil 8. And they're like, you're crazy. Resident Evil doesn't have werewolves. And the Village came up and they're like, see, I told you. And then the Roman numerals came up and I was like, aha, I told you.
It had been rumored that there was going to be werewolves. That had been tossed around for quite a while.
I must have missed that. But yeah, Chris Redfield looks like a weird
Is
guy. Chris
Redfield the villain? Are we to assume that? Or is he just being a BA in that scene?
I think he's pushing the villain route. I mean, they've done it with Jill
cool.
Valentine.
She was mind controlled, right? I mean, I think they're doing the annoying marketing thing they always do, where they're like, he's gone bad, and then you'll get 3 hours into it, and he'll be like, yeah, I had to look bad, but now I'm on the inside. Let's take Umbrella down. You know?
I hope not, but that does fall in line with the storylines in Resident Evil games.
Or, like every marketing campaign that's like, Master Chief's the villain now. You know, like...
Yeah.
Or even Prototype 2, where they're like, defeat Mercer, and then 3 hours into the game, you're teaming up with him. Like, it's just always a lie.
Yep.
The aesthetic reminds me of Code Veronica, where it's... Okay. So I'm really hoping that we're revisiting that area of the Resident Evil world.
I was kind of reminded of Bloodborne a little. Aesthetic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised that Hitman 3 is happening. That was a genuine shock to me, and they made sure to say that they're ending that series. Again, a series that I'm not that big into, but
wasn't it? Then they use like a really weird. They're like, the World of Assassination trilogy comes to a close.
Yes.
Yeah. That to me says like expect Hitman 4 at some point.
But
it's a new trilogy.
Yeah. They're gonna do a trilogy of Hitman trilogies.
Back on Capcom, what did you think of Pragmata? I have no idea what's going on in that game. There's like a dude in some kind of suit walking around, and at some point he's walking around with a little girl that's not in a suit.
She's a robot.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she's a robot.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
I thought it was Death Stranding. I thought it was like it's Death Stranding DLC.
That's what I said. I was like, wow, look, it feels like Death Stranding.
I was like, man, Kojima's working fast for once. That's weird.
How cool is that, though? A new IP from Capcom.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Would have seen that coming.
Awesome from them, but a new IP from Square Enix?
Project
come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glorious. And it looks pretty.
Can we talk about Horizon Forbidden West?
No, it's too early. It's too early.
Yeah. It just feels like right to it. Come on. Project Athia, a girl with superpowers. You don't see that very often. Gary Whitta, the writer of Rogue One, is involved. Okay, that's all I wanted to add.
Okay.
Gary, Rogue One was so good. That's one that I did not like the first time I watched it, and it got better and better each time. Anyway, you know how they kept talking about how this whole stream was going to be in 30 frames per second and 1080p or something like that? I still can't get over how freaking gorgeous Horizon Forbidden West looked. It looked incredible. I was blown away. Oh, I cannot wait to play that game. Don't even know what the story is. I'm gonna have to play through the original again. Oh.
I do want to play through the original again. I always said I think I would, even though I didn't like Horizon very much, I always thought I would enjoy whatever the sequel was. Let's say iron out the kinks. But I see it, at least they're keeping the tradition of having the worst possible video game name ever.
Well, it's funny because people were saying, is it going to be Horizon Zero Dawn 2?
No, because
it turns out that
Horizon Zero Dawn in there. Is a meaningless... Even after you find out what Zero Dawn is, it's still a dumb name.
Kind of, yeah.
Not a good name.
Didn't you say the Forbidden West title, it takes place in San Francisco? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you see the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's a couple buildings from the downtown San Francisco skyline you see. I mean, I'm really excited for that. Oh no, go ahead.
I don't think we gave Miles Morales enough attention. What are we doing, guys? You guys pumped?
Oh no, I'm swinging back. I'm swinging back.
You swing it too.
Yeah. Kena, Bridge of Spirits looks gorgeous.
This is my favorite game of the show. It looks so great. It looks like a GameCube game.
Yes, it does.
So, I could see that.
Yeah, and man, it really tripped my trigger. It made me think of, and I know you guys are gonna groan. It made me think of Star Fox Adventures.
I can see that. Yeah,
and I love.
But hopefully, this one's better.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know I'm the only person probably in America that loves that game, but I do, and I was excited to be reminded of it.
Yeah.
There's one other one that stood out to me that I know it's not Twisted Metal, but Destruction All-Stars gave me a Twisted Metal feel. I
felt like almost like a childish reaction because I saw this and I was like annoyed that it wasn't Twisted Metal. I was like, you could be doing this with Twisted Metal. Make a free-to-play car combat game called What Are You Doing? You guys got a TV show coming out. This is so dumb.
Yeah. Turned like New York all of a sudden or something.
And no, but then I thought, that it's got that pop color candy aesthetic that the Fortnite kids love, so it's probably a smart game.
Yeah.
There was so many games to talk about, but we'll roll back with something Zach's been itching to die about: Spider-Man Miles Morales. When I first saw the trailer, I actually thought it was going to be Infamous 3. The way it started.
What I thought as well.
Really?
Because they had like the electricity on his hand before you actually saw the Spider-Man head, the mask. Yeah.
And
then I saw that, and I was like, I turned to Scott and I was like, that's Miles Morales. Zach's going to pee himself.
I did. I got a little, my pants got a little wet, man. I was so excited. And my favorite part is that they didn't even bother to redo his costume. It's just the comic costume.
Yeah.
Because you can't improve perfection.
Right.
I mean,
so
I like it.
I'm actually really itching to play this.
I think it's a really smart move to do like a Miles, origin story on the side, and then you do Spider-Man 2 where they're playing tag team Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a smart call.
I actually told Scott I have a feeling they're going to Into the Spider-Verse this, and Peter's going to die.
I just don't. They're not going to do that as a spin-off.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
No. I have a feeling Peter's going to die, which is going to set up for the Spider-Man actual 2 game, which is going to be a Spider-Verse game to find a way to bring him back. I'm saying I'm saying it right now. That's my prediction for that game.
I hope that would really annoy the hell out of me.
I know it would, but I would enjoy it.
Well, I don't know. There's so much Peter. You got to follow up with Harry Osborn. And Norman Osborn's got a grudge. I don't think they're going to kill off Peter. I think I can see why people are thinking that. I just don't see it.
Lowenthal is too good as Spider-Man to not have him in Spider-Man 2.
He is the definitive Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I still am hoping for my theory that Peter is a bad guy. Gets taken over by the Venom symbiote.
Ooh.
And Miles use the, he has to be Spider-Man for the city while he saves Peter. Be great.
See,
that's what I want.
I just want a Spider-Verse game so I can play as my boy Spider-Man Noir.
Shattered Dimensions out there, man.
I know. I've played it through it 3 times.
I would be devastated if this went Spider-Verse. I don't need interdimensional shenanigans.
Plus, it's been done so recently with that movie, and there's going to be another movie.
And to death.
Mm-hmm.
They had the 2014 Spider-Man event, then they had a 2019 sequel event, and they had the movie. They want to do a spin-off movie and a TV show. Let's cool it on the Spider. Let's pump the Spider-Verse brakes.
Actually,
yeah. Plus, I like the idea of these games being their own thing.
I think CB just wants to see my blood vessels pop. I think that's what
I think so too.
Actually, can you imagine if they went the route of Man Spider?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Remember that 90s cartoon show where he was Man Spider for 8 episodes? It was absurd. It's just Peter Parker when he grows extra limbs and gets all hairy like a spider.
Okay. Yeah. I hope that doesn't happen.
No.
Well, I know that it seems like a afterthought at this point, but I do want to mention IGN's Expo stream. Now, I will be honest, I only watched
Scott, you're not excited for the Demon Souls remake? Thought that'd be right up your alley.
No, I mean, it looked cool, but it's just a game that I'm terrible at. I'm just not.
Before you jump off this, and I'm sorry, there's just so many games to talk about.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I just want Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart,
which I can't read without hearing ripped apart. That's all I hear whenever I see that title.
I believe that's their intent. Well, first of all, this game looked really slick, and it makes me desperately want to play the 2016 game. Did you see Haven? They go to Haven City from Jak 2 in this trailer.
See, really? I wouldn't have caught that
for about 2 seconds while they're doing a dimensional warps. So you think that might hint towards bigger things?
Like a little crossover between Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter?
Yeah,
Ratchet and Daxter.
Throw a little Sly Cooper into the mix too.
Oh,
I could see that.
That would be freaking rad, man.
wasn't Sly Cooper the infamous guys?
Yes,
Sucker
it was
Punch?
Sucker Punch. Yeah.
So would that be two developers coming together? Because
no,
Sucker Punch didn't do Ratchet and Clank, right?
No, but they're all owned by Sony.
Oh, okay.
They did a move game where they all teamed up, but it was, first of all, terrible, and secondly, required the move. So it'd be nice to have an actual crossover that people would care about. Anyway, that's just my tinfoil hat conspiracy. I think the game looks awesome outside of that, and really makes me kick myself that I didn't play that first reboot.
Yeah. The only thing I was actually really disappointed about this one is the fact that there was no God of War sequel announced.
I was surprised.
It's time.
I mean, it's coming.
It's time. But the timing is right, because I actually pulled it up while we were watching this. I'm like, well, God of War came out 2 years later was God of War 2. 3 years after that was God of War 3. It's time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you gotta get Horizon out of the way first. You know?
Yeah. But Thor, bro.
Look, hey, I'm jazzed for God of War 2. Trust me. Corey Barlog just won many internet points with me this week. But quick note. Is Returnal the first game ever to star an older female protagonist?
I saw your tweet on that, and I could not think of another one.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Because grizzled old men, Daima does it. But I was like, grizzled old women, this might be the actual first video game with that as a main character.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. But it's just...
I mean, I got to play as a grizzled old woman in Watch Dogs Legions at E3, but that's not a main character. But it was pretty cool seeing Granny jumping rail fences and stuff.
Right. Well, she's like, it's almost goofy in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
we haven't heard about that game in a long time, by the way.
No, I think we just heard about it being delayed, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I talk about IGN now?
I guess.
Dude, there's a lot of news, man. Sorry.
I know. No, I know. I'm just we're at a half hour already. I didn't want to.
It's not my fault. The video game industry decided to have E3 without E3.
I know, right? We won't go through obviously every game. We just can't. But there's one game that stuck out to me. It's Metal Hellsinger, which I think looks really cool. It's a first-person shooter.
The rhythm first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, but it plays like metal music, and I love metal music. And it's you shoot and melee in beat with the music for more points. I think Nate texted me, our producer, and I think he called it Doom Hero. And I said I was thinking I can't even remember which one it was. Doom the Musical. So we were kind of thinking, because that's what it looks like. And I'm all for that. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it could be tough.
Oh yeah, man, I'm on board.
What else?
The werewolf game, man.
Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. We got a new trailer for that.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just CG, right? Was the only trailer they put out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have not seen the gameplay yet still.
I have.
And how does it play? What does it look like?
Very poorly.
Uh-oh. Well, It was a long time ago.
It was pre-alpha, and it was one of the worst playing things I did at E3, but that was years ago. But it is neat. What is the CB? You might know this. What is the name of that RPG universe? That Werewolf and Vampire the Masquerade takes place in?
I know the one you're talking about because I used to play a lot of Vampire the Masquerade. I can't think of the werewolf side of it.
Okay. I know they have like an overarching name. But anyway, the story seemed cool, and you can transform between wolf, werewolf, and human at just the press of a button. And that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
It's just really rough. And the coolest part is the director and writer of the game. He plays the werewolf, like, pen and paper game. And the main character of this game is just his character.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
You just put him in the game. I think it's awesome. That's a cool move. Anyway, CB, you were saying.
I just think it's time for werewolves to get their due. Because it's always like vampires.
They are in Resident Evil.
I know. But it's always like vampires and zombies. Like, let some other monsters take over for a while.
Right. It's
Well, what
just-
was the one? What was
Van-
that had werewolves versus or that super short game on PS4 that everyone like got really bad reviews because it was like 5 hours long. It had a date in the title, like 18.
The Order 1886?
Thank you. The Order 1886 wasn't that werewolves? Kind of.
It was werewolves until the plot twist.
Oh, okay. It's been a while.
Vampire. That game owns.
I like that game a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Never understood why that game got crapped on.
Do not care if it's 5 hours and mostly cutscenes. That is such an awesome universe and very werewolf heavy.
Yeah. There was another one. I know we had already seen it before, but Second Extinction just looks like stupid fun to me. It looks like what was that game where you blasted Earth
Turok.
Defense Force?
It's
Defense Force and Left 4 Dead and a Turok universe with machine guns. I love it. I just can't wait to play that one with friends. Was it teams of 3?
Yes. So
I also love that there's a game out there called Grand Theft Horse, which I thought was a joke. I legitimately thought it was a joke. But it is. You go up and steal horses and then fight off guys I don't know.
Is it called
It's
Rustler?
really funny.
yeah,
Rustler. Yep, Rustler Grand Theft Horse.
Mortal Shell stood out to me.
Mortal Shell's on my list.
It looks like a Souls-like, but with incredibly heavy religious overtones.
Yeah, I knew. Well, we saw. That's not the first time we had seen that one. We knew
That's
that
true.
was. But well, it's not the first time we saw Second Extinction either. So I can't.
Yeah.
I'm a hypocrite.
Mortal Shell looks an awful lot like the Zack game.
It sure does.
Void Train.
Void Train. I don't know what that game is. What is Void Train?
I don't know, but it looks cool.
I don't know what that is. I want to give a shout out to Demon Turf, which on the surface, it just looked like a standard platformer. But the more I looked at it, it looks like if Paper Mario, those style of graphics, were actually a 3D platformer. And the more I watched it, the more I was really impressed with how that game looks. I'm really intrigued by that. It's a brand new IP, new characters. I feel like I would have liked it better if it were Mario characters, but that's because of my affinity for Mario. But I'm going to keep my eye out for that one. I'm really interested in that one. It's also the people that did
Slimeson,
yep.
which I liked, and I also think Demon Turf looks very, very unique.
Wasn't that one of the first games you reviewed?
It was the first game I reviewed.
Yeah, thought so. So I'm intrigued by that one. Again, we're not going to go through every single one of these, but I do. Man, did you stick around for the 1-Up arcade games?
Ugh, I'm
Zach?
No, I did not.
No,
I see X-Men versus Street Fighter on here.
that's in there. Ms. Pac-Man, first time they've re-released that. I've heard.
Yep.
Oh,
And
Big
the
book.
Marvel digital pinball table is the one I want for my classroom because it just looks cool. I want a little digital pinball table in my classroom.
I haven't seen any of the 1-Up arcade pinball tables yet.
No, I didn't know they made pinball tables.
They've been in talks to make them for a while. I've been wanting to actually see one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a market for them, especially as expensive as pinball tables are.
Mm-hmm.
So
These have to be cheaper than regular pinball tables, especially because of the maintenance and the upkeep. And
more than likely, we'll see. I don't know.
yeah.
One last game I want to talk about real quick: Beyond Blue.
Yeah, that looked boring to me.
I
have no clue. No
I
desire.
like those kind of games. And the fact that it's an underwater exploration game.
It's like another Abzu.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I loved that game.
yeah, Abzu's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
I
Abzu with
wasn't-
better graphics.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not a big nature guy. Like
I
going
must have
around and
missed Beyond
explore.
Blue. This thing looks awesome.
Isn't that available now?
I have
I think
no
that-
idea.
I think that game is out. Like you can get that now, I believe.
Maybe on Steam. If
maybe
it's
I'm
out
wrong.
if it's
Who
out
cares?
now, I'm
Who
going to
cares
be
about Steam?
buying it tonight once we're done.
All right, well, we better move on. Like I said, we had a lot of news to talk about. Oh, we should mention, who do you think is going to pick up Warner Brothers?
Dude, I'm so worried about this situation.
I know, because it's Batman, right?
Well, it's just weird, right? Like, first of all, like those are good studios. Rocksteady is one of the best studios in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to sell them off, and if you sell them off, like, it's not like you get Batman. You just get Rocksteady, right? Like, and then AT&T will license out. They like something the verbiage of, they'll take like a smaller cut than a typical license fee or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's a weird purchase if you're Activision or EA or somebody.
Who knows?
Like,
maybe Microsoft.
I mean, I assume Mortal Kombat comes with.
Mortal Kombat's there. The Lego games are all in there.
So do they get Mortal Kombat, or do they have to license Mortal Kombat from Warner Brothers?
That's a good question, because I would think for $4 billion they'd get all of that. That's a lot of money.
Right, but you're not going to get the DC stuff, and you're not going to get Lego. I feel like you're still going to have to pay licensing fees for those.
Then what is the $4 million paying for?
That's what I'm asking. Because they're not going to give you Arkham. They're going to let you license Arkham, I'm sure. I'm sure whatever the studios are working on now, you'll probably get license free.
Right.
Which seems fair. But there's no way they're going to be like, oh, you want to make it like, if they want Rocksteady to make a Wonder Woman game, they're going to have to renegotiate for a license for Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's probably a lot of like layers to that. Like, do they get like the right of first refusal? Like, oh, well, we're going to make this. Do you want it? And if they're the owners, they may get a heavily discounted price or decide who gets to make it.
It's just, it's very, you've built a structure where you could just have these studios. I just don't understand why AT&T would sell this off. I just don't see. It's such a short.
Why do they want to sell?
It's such a short-term gain. Yeah, you get $4 billion to pay off your debts right now, but not for that. Like, if the rumors of Rocksteady making a live service Justice League game are true, like, that would be a cash cow for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And like those IPs and having studios that specialize in them just seems smart.
I'm with you. But I mean, just to put it in perspective, though, $4 billion how much did Lucas sell Star Wars to Disney?
$4 billion.
Was it 4? I thought it was 1.
No, it was 4.
I thought it was
4 billion?
Yeah, but I think
4.5
billion. Either way.
I mean, granted, there's a lot, there's a lot more than one franchise built into this, so I get it, but that's an equal,
right? But again,
pretty close.
But again, Disney got Star Wars.
Yeah.
Whoever buys these studios, Warner Brothers Interactive, is just getting Rocksteady, who sure is good at Batman games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Disney deal seems a lot better because I believe ILM and Skywalker Sound came with it.
$4.05 billion. That's why I thought I was in there.
$4.05 billion
for freaking Star Wars. Warner Brothers is demanding the same fee to pick up the Shadow of Mordor studio. Seems a little absurd.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that Disney has already made that back and then some at this point.
Yes, I think Disney made a very good deal.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we have talked about news for quite a bit. Let's go ahead and move on real quick before we get into our topic. I want to remind everybody that we are an independently funded podcast, and we could use your help to help pay for our podcast hosting services, websites, as well as some giveaways for our listeners. We have a Patreon, which we've kind of adjusted the levels a little bit there. And if you were at a $3 tier, we get you 1 bonus episode a month. If you're at a $5 tier, we give you 2 bonus episodes a month. And we're also starting to throw in some free episodes in there as well to cover some of the extra games that we've been covering, not covered by the three of us. We've got a lot of contributing writers over here at the Gaming Outsider, so we've decided to kind of parse those out and give those away as free content, so those people that do want to still listen can check those out. But if you'd like to help us out, our Patreon address is patreon.com/thegocast. And CB, what is going on with the content over there right now?
Most recently, we did the games that aren't for us for Assassin's Creed and our Retro Outsider with Chad for Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Break the Seal episode is coming very, very soon. I was actually just talking to Spencer about it yesterday.
Very cool. Again, if you want to check those out, as well as all of our back catalog of content, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. And we'll go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. So this week, I wanted to talk about games that grade you on your performance. I'm talking about the ones where, you get like a little bit of a report card at the end of the level or at the end of the game itself. I don't know what brought this up, but it made me think about the various games that did this. So how do you guys feel about this in games? Do you appreciate the challenge, or do you feel like that game is judging you?
I don't dislike it. I don't hate it. I freaking loathe it.
Oh, really?
I can't stand the rankings. In fact, like Devil May Cry 5, right? I love that game. I was like, or Bayonetta, too, when I was replaying that, I was like, I wish I could just turn off these screens.
I feel the same way.
Because you're right, I do feel judged. I feel like I'm not up to stuff. And what's the real shame is like, so I play video games for story, right? Like I want to get through these challenges to get through them. But sometimes I do kind of get into the flow of things, especially like Devil May Cry 5. I thought played very well, especially when you're a Nero. And then, like, I feel like I'm doing great. I'm like, dude, I don't feel like I've taken a hit in 30 minutes. I'm doing these chains. Oh, look, SSS on this combat encounter. Then you get to the end of the stage, you're like, see. Mm-hmm. You're like, what? You're like, yeah, you should have beaten 12 minutes, man. You took 20. You're like, what? Yeah, I was looking for collectibles. Now, well, what a loser you are then. Like, it just sucks. It's so deflating. And especially if you beat a boss, a cool cutscene happens, you rip out some dude's eyeball and shove it down his throat. D. Like, well, now I don't feel like a badass demon hunter now, so thanks.
Yeah, I was not expecting that response from you, actually. CB, do you feel the same?
I really don't care for them, but that's also because majority of the games that I play don't have those.
You play Resident Evil games?
That's true, but usually I just skip the credits and that final... Because with Resident Evil, it's just at the very end. It's not like I finished a chapter. Oh, rate me, please. I really don't care for them. Most of the time, I just bypass it. I think the last game that I really cared about it was Dead Rising, because I wanted the additional costumes. That you
at least got something for that, right? All you get in the modern games, like the Devil May Cry 5, is just achievements, right? There's just, you don't get any cool gear or anything, do you, Zach? You play that game more than I did.
I mean, I think you get like weapon skins and stuff. It's not worth it. It's usually like that's how you get like the joke weapons, like play the whole game with a giant baseball bat. You're like, okay.
Or a Mega Man cannon.
Or a foam finger.
Foam finger was in there, yeah. I'm exactly with you guys. I really don't like it, especially when they do it at the end of every level. It feels like I'm being reminded that I'm playing a video game. You know what I mean? Like I'm focused on this story and this awesome, really cool story beat, as ridiculous as it may be, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, by the way, you're playing a video game this whole time, which I know I am, but it just makes it feel video gamey.
Yeah, I mean, even like The Last of Us, like there's a trophy for getting the shiv doors. And like the whole time I'm just thinking like, I'm not going to be good enough to get all these freaking shiv doors.
The shiv door? Oh, where you have to unlock the doors using the materials?
There's like a trophy and there's like a statistic in the settings that at the end of the game that tells you about them. And you're like, great. It's weird.
It was weird that you had to have a tool that is also a weapon that is now gone if you use it as a shiv, right?
Yeah, that's strange. But I guess that's a little topic adjacent.
Right.
But I don't like it. I don't like the rating systems overall. There are a couple exceptions, I'll admit, but we'll get to those.
Go ahead. What are your exceptions? Because I couldn't think of any.
Oh, well, okay. I thought Macy B had more to say before he...
Oh, I was definitely going to say that the ranking system thing, to me, seems more like something that belongs in a mobile game.
Oh, okay.
So you get like your 1, 2, 3 stars depending on how you did this tiny little mini game. To me, rankings belong with mini games and mobile games. there's not too many games that come out nowadays, like modern games, that I'm like, is a ranking system really necessary?
Well, I think with a game like Devil May Cry 5, and correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't played all of the previous iterations, but isn't that kind of been a staple of the series early on?
Yes, yeah.
And so even if they were to take it out to appease those of us that don't like them, there would be just as many hardcore fans of the game that would have been upset. So they kind of kept it in there. Same with Resident Evil.
That's why, like, I always look for an option. Like Bayonetta, I wanted to like look for an option to get past it, because they make you feel really bad in that game, because when they grade you, they give you a statue of Bayonetta, and it just crumbles apart more and more the worse grade you got.
Wow.
So you really rub it in.
Well, especially because I feel like games like that don't teach you how to play them better. You know what I mean? There's never like a really good tutorial, or it's never explained what you're supposed to do. The only thing you really know is to get through the level faster. You know, if there's a timer, and you guys know how I feel about timers. I don't want to play through a game quickly. I want to enjoy it and just revel in this whatever's going on the screen and not worry about a clock. And I understand that part of that is for replayability, but I don't replay games as often anymore.
It always seems to be like the number one limiting factor on those grades is the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that always seems to be the most heavily weighed. And I will say there seems to be one company that does the grading system more than any other company.
Is it Capcom?
It is Capcom. Beyond Capcom, I can't really think of too many other companies that do this, other than one of the games that I'm going to be talking about later that I've been playing this week has a ranking system, and I did not care for it.
Yeah.
It's just an annoyance.
Yeah. I hear you. And to kind of echo what you said, Zach, it drives me crazy in games. This is kind of a little bit of a side tangent, but when a game that has collectibles in it, and then you break off from the path to go look for a collectible, and the game yells at you for it, like whether it be one of the non-playable characters, it's like, "Hey, come on, we got to go." I'm like,
"Yes,
stop! I'm looking, I'm looting, I'm looking for stuff. I'm doing what the achievement is telling me to do."
And that gets worse the longer we get into, or the more modern the game gets, because they always want to like keep the player led by the nose or whatever to make sure you're seeing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really bad in Uncharted. I'm learning.
You played that very recently, so you can attest to it.
But it's I get what you're saying. It's really annoying, and it's also really annoying, because time matters and like Devil May Cry and stuff. But then like also there's a ranking for finding the collectibles. So like, wait, so now I got to find all the collectibles, and I got to do it in 12 minutes, and I got to not get hit, all to get like the A ranking.
So basically, it is a speedrunning game. They're making them to be speedrunning games,
right? Like perfect this.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I
don't have time.
Just don't replay games like I used to. There are too many games now.
Way too many.
Couldn't they just remove that though and make it like an arcade mode or a speedrun mode?
Yeah, or like Zack is saying, give me the option to have it on or off.
Yeah, especially it's like Devil May Cry, I guess is really what comes to mind, or Bayonetta. They have like the score counters, and a couple other games do, and I always look for the option to turn that off, because I don't need to know what my score is adding up to right now in the middle of a level. And that does nothing but take me out of it. I
agree. Well, you've been talking about how much you hate it, Zach. What are some examples of ones where you appreciated it?
So where I appreciate it most is if it's on the side, like combat challenges, like Arkham's comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, that gives you a 3-star ranking. But even that's like point based, and if you don't get hit, you will get the 3 stars every time in Arkham.
Oh, okay.
And that's, like they're very manageable, and it does time doesn't matter, and you can mess up and still kind of recover it and get the 3 stars. So it's just way more lenient and fun. The Fallen Order ones are excruciating, because to get 3 stars you have to not take a hit at all, which is insane.
Well, that combat's a lot harder than Batman too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Batman is. I love Batman to death, but it's a rhythm game with punching. Right. And then the only other example, because I really had to scramble outside of combat challenges, the only other thing I can think of is Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I'll try to go for a 100% stealth rating. Because they would give you a rating after the end of all of your missions on that game.
I did not remember that. Well, CB, I could not think of any good examples. I racked my brain and I could not think of any time where I liked this. So it's pretty clear that I don't like being graded in the game. I just hate that feeling of judgment. But did you come up with any good ones?
That's why it's best served on the side. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like it with certain styles of shmups.
Okay.
That makes sense. That makes sense for you.
Yeah. It for me, like I said, it falls into an arcade game style category, which is where I like it and where I want it to stay. But if I'm playing a story-based game, I don't want it. To me, it shouldn't be there. So
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific one that stood out that did it well? Ikaruga, did that do a grading?
It did. Freedom Finger.
Freedom Finger. Still cracks me up that that's a game.
I love that game, man. Still playing
I know
it.
You do. I know you do.
And it has a great grading system.
Is it a middle finger?
No. But
they should put up like the okay sign when you do well, a middle finger when you do poorly.
You, depending on how you do, the general that is commanding your mission will start swearing at you.
Is this Nolan North?
Yes, it is.
It is Nolan North. Yep.
God,
so he will cuss you out or congratulate you on how BA you're being.
You know what? That is one that I did like it at the end. Was Star Fox 64.
There you go.
At the very end of the game, depending on how many combos and everything you did, because you basically had to memorize those levels, you had to get paid by what was his name? The sergeant or the admiral, right?
Oh yeah.
And he would have this like crazy reaction by how much money he had to pay you, and he'd be like, "What?" It was like if you got the big money, you got that. I played that game, but again, I played that game over and over and over again. So it might be a thing like an age thing where we don't have time to play these games over and over again. We're jumping on to the next thing, so we're not going to go perfect these games and get that good at them.
But yeah, I was gonna say, Splinter Cell, I would not have cared about Chaos Theory's ranking if I didn't play it, 15 times.
Right.
Like the first time through, I was definitely just annoyed because I'm like, because in order to get 100%, you have to you can't even knock guards unconscious. You have to get around them.
Right.
Would you consider a lot of the Mario games ranked because depending on like how many stars you got or coins?
No, because those are just collectibles, right?
They were never. I mean, it like the one on the phone. Going back to your mobile game, Mario Run. What was that game called again?
Yeah, Mario Run.
That one, you had certain ones, and I actually enjoyed going back and trying to get all those, but I didn't feel like it was judging me. Well, kind of. If you miss them, and then it shows you how many you got, and there's that blank one. It's like, oh, but it doesn't grade you with a letter.
Yeah, it's not rubbing your nose in it.
Right.
But does it give you like a 1, 2, or 3 star?
Some mobile games do, but I can't think of like a Mario proper game that gives you a grade at the end.
I don't know if it does. What do you mean? What about? I guess. Well, never mind, Scott. Because I was gonna say, what about time trials? But I guess you hate those. A ticking clock.
I hate time trials. That's why I didn't like that. Mirror's Edge. Everyone loved Mirror's Edge, but me.
I was gonna say, if you count time trials, I do tend to love those. Not in cars though. I'm bad at racing.
You know what? I do love the trials games. The motorcycle.
Oh, there you go. There's one.
So, and that one grades you at the end. I would refuse to move on until I got the good ranking, but that was because I knew I sucked at that run or whatever.
Did Assassin's Creed have parkour races?
They were just like fine that you had to go around and get the flags before the time ran out.
Yeah,
make it to the end.
Okay, I know Watch Dogs had parkour races.
I thought of a game that has ranking in it that Scott likes.
What's that?
Peggle.
Is that ranking? That's just like a score.
It gives you a 1, 2, or 3 stars.
Yeah, 3 stars. Yeah, you're right.
So Scott doesn't like a letter grade. He likes how many gold stars he gets.
I think that's what it is.
What?
The letter, because getting it, even as a kid that got straight A's in school and hated getting B's, anything less than an A feels like it's not good enough.
Well, and a lot of the games you're describing they're not like narrative immersive games.
Right.
you're throwing a ball down some pegs.
Mm-hmm.
But like in an action game, you want to feel like you're that character, and they're always so cool in the cutscenes, and you do like these cool combos, and the game says, "Well, it wasn't that cool." Just
Right.
see. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, let's go on and see what the community said about it. We'll start with Facebook. Let's do these in order. We'll go CB, Zack, and then me. So CB, you start off.
Of course, you give me the last name that I will butcher horribly.
Well, it wasn't going to be me.
Chad Furgile.
I would say for Guiley, but I don't know. He'll
Well,
probably email us and correct us.
You can correct me on Facebook later. Whenever a game does this, I often find myself saying, "Well, screw you, I beat it, didn't I?"
Yeah, it sounds like what
completely
Zack was
agree.
saying.
Yeah. How do you care how I did it? I did it.
Yeah, there's no ranking system in Dark Souls, right?
No.
You just do it. That's it.
No, there's
Well,
a
yeah.
ranking system. You did it or you didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very binary.
Dark Souls, is your controller intact? You won.
Well, which
Yeah.
one? I'm on my 4th.
Oh, man. Sean Coates, I don't really care one way or the other about these types of grading systems. On one hand, it does set a certain goal to make me want to try to play as best as possible. And if I don't, I get a low ranking or whatever, fine by me, I'll move on either way. At the end of the day, it's all arbitrary. Same with achievements and trophies for that matter. I notice these grading systems creeping into more and more games where you least expect, like GTA 5, for example. I mean, I forgot that it does have those. It has a gold, silver, bronze medal system after each completed mission, which in my opinion, having such a system goes against the play how you want philosophy that made the series a mega hit in the first place. That's actually a great example, because I think I want to say the first Red Dead had this too.
It didn't have it in the second one, though, did it?
Well, I know you had to look in the menu to find them in Red Dead.
Ah, okay.
It didn't
Yeah.
pop on the screen. But yeah, no, he's right. It is antithetical to the game design. And especially the way Rockstar makes their games where they focus on the little details and they want to make it as hyper realistic as possible and all that jazz. So it's weird.
And then they give you a gold star.
Yeah, they give you an Olympic medal at the end of your bank heist.
Right.
I'm just like trying to think of like if they dropped a ranking system into like some of our favorite games, would you love them as much? Like if they dropped a ranking system in Link to the Past?
Well, that's a different story because I've played that game so many times that at this point, the game is so old and I've played it so many times, I'm looking for something new with it. So if now a game that I love that much, I can go back and have an added challenge and try to play it in a different way and still experience the game I love, that's a different story.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
okay. Well, let's look at it this way. With Last of Us 2 coming out soon, and how much you didn't like playing through Last of Us 1 again,
Mhm.
can you imagine if they added a ranking system to Last of Us 2 that you cannot progress until you get like so many stars to unlock the next area?
I wouldn't play it anymore. If they're gonna block a story, a game like that with story behind a get a good grade ranking, you just lost a fan, Naughty Dog.
You know what? That brings up an interesting point to you because in Lost Legacy, and I want to say maybe The Last of Us, but like the NPCs will comment on how the fight went, and that annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So you'll get to the end of a firefight, and in Lost Legacy is coming to mind. I think they did Uncharted 4 as well. But like Nadine will be like, well, barely made it through that one, didn't we? You're like, well, that could have gone better. And I'm like, what? I killed everybody. I killed 30 men just now.
It's actually, the more I think about it, the reason why I brought that up is because as much as I love the Resident Evil series, I only ever played the first mission of Resident Evil Revelations because of that damn grading system.
Yeah. Your question about like favorite games was like, yeah, every time I go back to the Mantis and Fallen Order, if they graded me on all of my fights, I would be so annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a placard on the wall of when Cal Kestis killed the stormtroopers right. Maybe the worst.
Well, we're all story guys too, so that doesn't help.
That's true.
Moving on, Jordan Derringer High. I usually don't care what the game tries to grade you. Those types of games are usually pretty dumb to try to get all the trophies achievements in anyway, so I play them exclusively just for fun. And he's a big trophy guy, like I'm an achievement guy. I know Jordan loves to get those trophies. He goes on to say, that being said, I will go through hell and high water to get the best score at the end of a Resident Evil run. Resident Evil is one of my absolute favorite franchises, and when I don't S rank a run, it just drives me to do better next time. And that brings me to my question. What does an S rank mean? Why is it S? Is it special?
Superior.
Superior?
Oh, I always thought it was special. I don't know.
I always have wondered that, but S rank is like, we got A grade beef, and then there goes double A, triple A, and now we've got something even higher than triple A. It's like you can't get any better.
Yeah, there is something just so video gamey. It's like part of the culture, right? The S rank.
Right.
I like that we
is.
have that as gamers.
Yeah, you can say S rank to someone that doesn't play games. And like, what's an S rank?
Yeah, they're like, wait.
It's better than an A.
Oh, yeah, but then they're like, wait, shouldn't it be like much worse than a D? And you're like, no, because you're superior and special.
You know what? I'm gonna start grading my kids' papers with that. When they just do like knock it out, I'm just gonna give them an S rank, and they're gonna be like, "What's this, Mr. Clark?" You'll learn.
When they get an extra credit point, and they're like 105% of the tests, you should just draw a little S next to it.
But wouldn't an S in like schools mean satisfactory?
You're right. An S in school would be I would actually write S rank.
Okay, so A pluses are S rank.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Kevin Honigford. I'm not a fan, but I don't mind them. They're just kind of a detail that you can use to put more stress on yourself if you want to. Some people dig that. Yes.
Some people do. I'm not one of them.
Masochists are a thing.
Alan Sheck. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I don't even bother to look up what the grades mean. Oh, I got an S? Hey, there's that S rank again. It's not a letter, and it's not a school grade letter, a numerical ranking, or a medal, so I have no idea what that means. Okay, on to the next level.
Yeah, we pretty much had that discussion just a second ago. Jeff Swan says, I like the grading systems when, even if it's my first playthrough and I sucked, I can still probably get a C or a B. I don't appreciate getting a brand new game, enjoying my time, and then the game telling me I suck at the end of each level. I also don't like it when the games have S, S+, S++, Super Extreme, Mega SVC Turbo Edition rankings. Give me a DCBAS. It's funny. Most of my examples are from Platinum or their related teams. I like the rankings in Beautiful Joe and the Metal Gear Rising. Also recently been playing Bloodroots and Ape Out, and I like the way they both approach the scores. At the end of the day, though, I need good rewards for getting high scores, but I don't want to be required to get an A or S across every level to unlock a significant chunk of a game. That's what we were talking about earlier. Last thought, from what I've heard, probably the biggest reason I've never played Nier Automata is because I'm frightened by what I've heard about the scoring ranking system. I don't even remember. That's how much I paid attention to the scoring ranking system in that game. I didn't know there was one.
I don't remember a scoring ranking system in Nier Automata.
Okay. So someone's been lying to him, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't have a clue what you mean by that. Sorry. And I feel like I would know.
I feel like you would too. So,
I mean, there are a bunch of different endings you can get in weird ways, but I don't know about the ranking system, man.
Man, now that you've like kind of ruined that for me with like the S thing, because there is A, B, C, D, and S, and like now it's just gonna bother me the fact that it's not like A, B, C, D, and like F. Like, get rid of the S.
I need it to be S at this point as a gamer.
I kind of do too. It feels like an identity for gamers that's a thing.
Right.
But there's never an F. The lowest you can get is a D. Do you notice that?
In fact, in Sonic Adventure 2, you get an E rank. Is the word you get.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because you can't really say F because F means a failure, right? And you can't call it a failure if you beat the level or beat the game.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah. I just thought it was like some Japanese thing.
Yeah, so
that's my thought. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but
so an F is basically you just didn't beat the level, pulled the disc out, snapped it in half, and found a better game to play.
It's like when you lose a Smash Brothers. Failure.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
all right, CB, you're up.
Chase Jensen. I hate the ranking systems where they give you a letter grade. I don't mind as much when a game tells me what % of exploration or collectibles I've made through, but to leave a letter grade out of it. There's something to be said for simpler times when playing and enjoying beating a game was the whole idea. Having said that, I really, really enjoy the feedback for the games like The Walking Dead, where they are a choice based and tells you how many other people made or didn't make the same choice. It was a super interesting way to compare my choices to the rest of the players. I completely agree.
I didn't think about that. The problem with those games, though, in comparing your choices with everybody else's, is that over time, law of averages and whatnot, those get very, very close to 50%, except for certain ones that are, nobody wants to kill off this certain character or whatever. But,
how horrible of a person are you?
Right.
Go
ahead.
It does feel cool though when you play like an episode in your launch, like Batman or something, and you do something. It's like, well, only 7% of players killed that guy. You're like, damn right, I made the hard call.
Yeah.
There's a choice. Too. There's a choice with Clementine in The Walking Dead season 2 where it was like 5% of players did what I did, and I was like, I'm either a horrifying person or very unique, but either way, I feel pretty good right now.
So when you're making those decisions, does that come to mind? Like I'm picking the path that most people aren't going to do, or are you actually picking the one that you want?
I'm being genuine.
Okay.
But I'm apparently, I can come across as contrarian, even though I'm honest.
That's not what I was getting at. I wasn't
it,
accusing you.
It is not. No. Yeah, it is honest. But Chantel said, "Golden Axe. My kids love fighting. Who is higher. I think it's dumb." Okay.
I don't even remember old Golden Axe having a ranking system. But
I'm surprised to see Golden Axe referenced in any discussion in 2020.
Yeah.
Other than God, you remember how bad Golden Axe was?
It wasn't bad.
Did it come to Xbox?
Yes.
They did a remake. Remember that one? Golden Axe Beast Rider.
Yes.
It's like opens with gratuitous nudity. That's the only thing I really remember.
Really? I don't remember that.
With those older ones, it wasn't so much a ranking system, but it was who had the higher score. Like Time Crisis, where it starts calculating and it's like player one wins.
Oh,
well,
man.
that's when it's a competitive thing, that's a little bit different because it feels less like grading and it feels more like a competition.
See, I hate that. I mean? Maybe more than the ranking.
Really?
When it's like a co-op arcade game, because it eventually devolves into you're not working together anymore. You're trying to fight for the higher score.
That's
you're like, we're a team. We're a team, man. Like, I don't need to fight over the turkey leg for the 100 points.
Like I was playing Gears 5 with Aaron and Brian and the other day, and we were playing what's it, Horde mode? Is that what they call it? Yeah, Horde mode. Yeah. And it just made me feel good because they calculate who's got the most kills and who takes the most damage and everything, and then somebody is the superior one for that round. And it just felt awesome that I was above these guys that have been playing this game for weeks, and I'm jumping in for the first time in several years, and I'm still like hanging with it. That made me feel good. By the way, Gears 5, still real fun.
I'm shocked. One act too short in the campaign, but otherwise, it is good.
Yep. Last comment comes from GamerDad03. He says, "No, I really don't see a need to be graded on my performance in the game. I just want to go out there, play my story game, and enjoy every single minute of it." I think that's kind of where we all three stand pretty much here. We just don't like to be judged. Want to enjoy the story and enjoy the story the way we want to. Anyway, that was a really fun topic. Turned out really good. Let's go ahead and move on before we get to the games we've been playing. Next week is kind of a big milestone for the Gaming Outsider. We are recording our 300th episode. Yes, 300. And I really am not in charge of the topic this week. CB's kind of heading this whole thing up. And do you want to kind of explain to everybody what we're doing?
Yeah, we're going to be roasting Scott Clark because this is Scott Clark and the Gaming Outsider.
Oh, Jesus.
So which is the easiest roast.
Yes,
you just have to say that, and you've already roasted him.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just going to be us saying that for like an hour, just watching how upset he gets.
Get every industry friend we've made to record something about how excited they are to be introing Scott Clark and the Gaming Outsider.
Stop.
See, look at him.
Not me.
He's turning red, folks. He's turning red.
It's just a sunburn. I've been working outside a lot.
Sure.
But anyway, yes, I am. This was not my idea. I want to be clear on that. This was CB's idea, but I agreed to it. So if you would like to be a part of this, you can actually call and leave a voicemail and roast me like crazy. Now, keep in mind, we do vet these. We will be listening to them. We are a family-friendly show. So feel free to dig into me all you want. The phone number, if you would like to call and leave a voicemail, is area code 347-746-2278. Or, if you want to remember it easier, it is 3477-GO-CAST. Again, 3477-GO-CAST. And bring it, everybody.
Is it like a Comedy Central roast where you're going to roast like all the Go members before you unleash the big guns on Scott? Or are we just roasting Scott?
No. We'll do it Comedy Central style. We will roast Scott, but then he will have his quick rebuttals at the end.
Okay. Well, in Comedy Central, because they always do like one joke about everyone else that's there, and then they just unload on the person. I'm just trying to get the rules straight for our community.
Well, we will let Scott have the final clap back.
Well, yeah, of course. I don't know if Scott has it in him. Or maybe the fact that I don't think he has it in him will make me end up crying. I will not see it coming.
It's gonna be quite interesting. I don't know. I hope that we can all write stuff that is, still game related and write funny stuff that has, I don't know. It'll be fun. And hopefully it'll all be in good fun and nobody calls me an a-hole or anything like that. It's all supposed to be in good fun. But
yes.
Anyway, stay tuned for that. We will have a Facebook and Twitter and all that message with a reminder of the topic and the phone number later in the week, and we'll give you plenty of time to do that. So looking forward to having some fun with that next week. It'll be interesting. Also, want to say hello to a new Facebook member, Jeef Ayerson. He joined over at facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. That community is awesome over there, and I keep it posted with news and all kinds of whatever I can get my hands on. So be sure to check that out. Also, we have a Discord server with an active community, and we'll be using Discord quite a bit for our community game nights. That link is in the show notes, and we have a new member over there by the name of Slain Bomber. So welcome to the community over there. Also, if you'd like to help us out, please drop us a review over on Apple Podcasts. They do help us out, and we love to get your feedback and see that ways that we can make the show better for your ears. And lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. We have all of our episodes as well as all of our written reviews, including Alyssa's review of Those Who Remain, as well as a written review of Rigid Force Redux by CB, which he's going to talk about in just a minute. And speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into the games we've actually been playing. Okay, Zach, anything besides The Last of Us coming out?
Yeah, there's some stuff that'll warm you up for it, but I think that's probably what everyone's going to be playing. But Colt Canyon, a Wild West roguelite, comes to Xbox One and Switch on June 16th. Keeping the Wild West vein, Desperados 3, a Wild West stealth game.
Actually, Thomas is reviewing that for us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I also played that one at E3. PS4, Xbox One, PC, June 16th. Disintegration, which is the new shooter from the Halo co-creator. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, June 16th. Haxity, coming to PC, June 17th. Pokemon Sword and Shield gets its big expansion pass with the Isle of Armor. That comes to Switch June 17th. Waking comes to Xbox One, PC, June 18th. It kind of looks like Souls kind of game, but you're fighting from afar with magic.
Oh,
and then this game looks kind of cool. You're exploring kind of a creepy school in the Academy, the First Riddle on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android, June 19th. But then, Ellie is out for blood in what is apparently a 25 to 30 hour epic Naughty Dog adventure with The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4, June 19th.
Yeah.
Gee, what are you guys going to be playing?
I'm going to be playing Last of Us.
Last of Us. But depending on how quickly I finish it, I will be hopping into Disintegration.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you see the story trailer for this? I actually kind of want to play it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks like it has a pretty solid campaign.
I'm really sad the fact that this is getting paired up against The Last of Us, because I have a feeling if this game was released during that lull that we had, this game probably would have done phenomenal.
Even if this game released last week, it would have done a lot better.
Yes.
But if I were a game developer and my publisher decided that this week was when we were launching, I would be livid.
Yeah.
Unless you're Pokemon, because it's a counter audience, so that's fine.
Right.
But otherwise, man, I would be mad. But I do think the Academy looks really good. I'm going to download that on my phone for sure.
Yeah, it's just going to be Last of Us for me, especially if it's 23 to 25 hours, like you said. That usually means 30 to 35 for me.
I was very surprised at that number in the reviews.
That's a long game, but
especially because The Last of Us didn't get fun for me until I bumped up to hard the first time playing it. So I'm going to be playing this on hard. So it's probably going to be a little longer.
I hope it pays. But from what I've read, and I haven't read a full review, just some snippets on Twitter. I just need to see what they're talking about. They're talking about it approaches violence in ways that have never been done in a video game, and it's super dark.
I don't think these critics have played the first Nier. I'm just going to say that.
That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will be talking about that next week for sure. And also, don't forget, I know you're only going to have like a day or two by the time you hear this, but we are giving away a copy of The Last of Us on PlayStation 4. And there's a link on Facebook as well as in the show notes here for you to all you gotta do is enter a drawing, and we'll give away a copy after we review it. I think CB's reviewing the physical copy.
Yep.
And as soon as he finishes it, he will ship it off to you. And so you won't get it at release, but we will do the drawing on Thursday this week, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, CB, you've been talking about shmups quite a bit tonight. You started playing Rigid Force Redux on Xbox One. Talk to me about this game, because your written review made it sound like it was just okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. It feels just okay. You play as generic space shooter guy.
Right.
Flying around.
The only genre for shmup is space shooter, it seems like.
Yeah. So you're defending a planet from an alien invasion. And this is the problem, is I want this genre to be revamped a little. I want something new, something exciting. Find some new way to bring this genre to the table.
Do you play shmups for the story, though?
Some of them I do.
Okay.
Cinemora. That's a good shooter focus.
Yeah, Cinemora was really good. I like the fact that this is a 2.5D side-scrolling shooter. So instead of most of them are vertical. So this is side-scrolling. The 3D graphics for this, or the quasi 3D graphics, look really
2.5D.
Yeah, it's 2.5D. It looks very good. It controls very well. But again, as most of these shmups are coming out nowadays, they're also very short. This was only 6 missions. I beat this in under 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And the boss fights are a little fun. I think the only thing that this really brought to the table that was new for me was not only do you have your different weapons like your spread shot, laser, and the different types of weapon upgrades that you can get, but you can get multiple cannons. And on top of that, you can actually direct the cannons in which way they fire.
So it's like a twin stick shooter at that point?
No, it's still just single.
So how are you directing the cannons?
You just tap the right bumper, and it will either direct all four of your 4 extra ones forward, 2 extra ones forward, 2 up, or 2 behind you and 2 forward.
Okay, so you just alternate between different formations, as it were.
That's really the only thing that changed. It has a boss mode attack, so you can fight all. This game is only 6 levels, with a boss at the end of each level. Unfortunately for me, all except one of the boss fights was fairly cut and dry, simple. They didn't really add anything new to the boss fights. I just really want one of these games to come out and just wow me, like something new. This is a solid game. It's it's fun to play, but it's so short that by the time I was finished with it, I wanted more. And for as simple as these games are, for the most part, I don't understand why they couldn't have added on 4, 5, 6 more levels.
Right. So it sounds like it's a really pretty game, controls well, it's fun, it just is short-lived.
Yes, it's very short-lived, and the only replayability that they did was to add in an arcade mode with a ranking system.
Now, do you think for a person like me that isn't an expert at shmups like you are, is this because maybe that's who the game is for? Is it for someone like me that's not really good at them already, and is this a good starting point?
This would be a fairly good starting point because it is that permanent side-scrolling. Each of the levels are short. It wouldn't be that hard for you to pick it up and learn how to play these better, especially with the addition of the arcade mode. So you can learn like, oh, well, if I do this way, I can increase my score because it is also a score grab game, which you also know that I love.
Right.
Yes, I would say this is a very good beginner shmup. Because it's not going to be a bullet hell like Ikaruga or like Freedom Finger or Darius can be. So yes, it's a very good, simple, short shmup for beginners.
Okay, so you recommend it for beginners, but not for the experts.
For experts, if you ever wanted to play this, I would wait till it hits a sale.
Okay. Again, that is Rigid Force Redux. Thanks for checking that one out, CB. So you guys want to hear about a game that looks like it's very much for me?
It looks like a 2D Metroidvania.
It really is. Of all, and you know me, I've played a lot of these Metroidvanias. But Outbuddies DX, which I checked out. I guess this game's been out on Steam for a while. It finally came to console. This is a Metroidvania that feels like a love letter to Metroid. And it tries very hard to be very similar to Metroid, but also be very different in other ways. It's a really interesting game that I struggled to get into. I will say, I thought I was going to have another Dandara on my hands. I think I texted you about that today, Zach, if you remember.
Yeah, very much.
This game is a little bit rough to get into because it took me a long time to get used to these controls. I feel like everything isn't mapped where I want it to be. And to be fair, I believe there's a button config in the menu system that I can go back and change. But do you remember the other Metroidvania on PS4 that everybody raved about? It was made by one dude. Oh man, the name is escaping me. It was 2 words. Anyway, this reminds me very much.
Axiom Verge?
Axiom Verge, thank you. This reminds me very much of Axiom Verge that is trying to do something different. And what this game does to be different is your character crash lands on this planet that is mostly made of water. And you are exploring underground. So parts of the 2D environments are actually underwater. So some parts you are walking around just like you would in any Metroidvania game, but in other parts, you're now swimming around. So at points, it almost feels like a shmup, a bit, CB. So like I just beat a boss before we sat down tonight that took place underwater, and I had to actually fight it like it was a shmup boss. It felt like a bullet hell. I was dodging bullets and trying to get my hits in and everything. So that's pretty interesting. The other thing that this game does to stand out is it's called Outbuddies because it's not just you. You have like this robot companion with you that allows you to do things. Do you remember in Super Metroid how you had the search beam? Like you could search for the different things to see if there was like a missile container there. So your little buddy that's with you can actually search for bombable areas. But you actually have to detach yourself from the main character and float this guy around and scour the area, which is super handy. So imagine if you're playing Super Metroid and you had the search beam at the beginning, but instead of being limited to where your character can see, you can actually run around the entire screen and scour every area and look for items in there, or just look ahead and see what's coming up next that you're going to be ready for. It's kind of handy. I like that a lot. It took me about 3 or 4 hours for this game to really hit its stride for me. And to be fair, I feel like the fault of that is mine more than the game's, because I struggled with the last Metroidvania game that I played, where I feel like I'm running out of patience. If I hit a wall, I get frustrated, and then I just wander around until I find it. But some of the solutions to move on in this game feels very convoluted to solve, unfortunately.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's whenever you describe Metroidvania, there are just so many that if you don't come out of it, you don't make it sound like great. Then I'm just like, well, there are dozens of great options out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, it started out rough, and then today, I suddenly just the game clicked for me. I don't know what clicked on it. I just started realizing what they wanted me to do, and the puzzles just started coming naturally. And I'm also learning that this game is massive. I've put about 5 or 6 hours in this game, and I've only seen 25% of the map, just to give you an idea of how big this is. So it's huge, but I've started to figure it out. Your little robot companion also has the ability to pick up certain objects, which you can use to reach higher areas or to put on pressure plates to open up doors, and then puzzles become tricky. Like there was one room that had 2 pressure plates in it that I had to put a rock on each one of them at the same time, but there was only 1 rock in the room. So I sat there and I'm like, what do I do? And I used my little buddy to scour every area of the wall and realized that there were some bombable walls at the top. And sure enough, I bombed those walls, and then the second rock came out. I would have stared at it for hours if I didn't do that. So, but it was so satisfying. It felt very satisfying to get that far. So, I'm fully into it now. I'm really enjoying the game. It does something a little bit different. You can even play the game in co-op, where a friend can actually play the robot companion instead of you switching back and forth. I will say, though, that the game does look very, very pixelated. There are moments where the game tries to tell you how to use certain mechanics in the game by using a pixelated animated picture. That there's a couple times where I sat and stared at it, and I could not for the life of me figure out what they wanted me to do. The game does a poor job of explaining how some of the mechanics work. Even when you get a new weapon, I collected 3 orbs that I had no idea why I was collecting these orbs. And once I collected the 3rd one, it says, "You've reached hacking level 1." And that was it. It stopped telling me what I had no idea what that meant. I had to experiment and figure out that my robot buddy now has this extra ability that can turn certain enemies into platforms. So now I know I can do that. And the next level will probably allow me to do another subset of enemies that I can turn into platforms instead of just these smaller enemies. I'm assuming. I don't know, because the game didn't explain it to me. But
do you think it's intentionally obtuse, like a Dark Souls kind of thing? Like where they want you to piece it together?
I can't tell. I honestly can't tell, because
that's probably not a good sign.
It doesn't feel like Dark Souls. I don't like Dark Souls, but I get Dark Souls. Yeah. This game feels very, very difficult. I actually went through and looked through the achievements. There are multiple achievements that have been completed by 0.00% of people. Granted, this game has been out for a couple weeks, but that's weird for, especially when they get out copies to people ahead of time, and they're usually blasting through these.
Right.
This is a tough game. It's one of the toughest Metroidvanias I've ever played, but the challenge is satisfying when you get through areas. I think the biggest frustration for me is just getting lost and not knowing where to do. But that's a me issue, not a Outbuddies DX issue. So right. I'm teetering on the fence of love and hate with this one, because I like I said, once I got in the groove, I'm plugging along, and I really did not want to stop playing it tonight when we had to hop on. But I'm looking forward to going through and playing it some more.
Okay.
So
waiting to see where you fall.
Yep, I'll talk about it more next week, because I plan on playing it some more. Again, that is Outbuddies DX. I'm playing it on the Xbox One, but I know it's also available on Steam. This is one of those Guerrilla games that you were talking about that they showed on Saturday. It's real interesting. So I'll report on it more next week. Anyway, anything else you guys been playing to catch up on?
I've started playing a game called Kona, which
Kona?
is
What's that?
This is about a bear. Wait,
it's essentially a discovery like walking simulator game.
All right.
You're trying to solve the mystery of this man who was murdered. And so you're plopped in the middle of this small town area that's in the middle of a snowstorm. So you have to like go over here and figure out something to get a coat so you don't get as cold quickly. And
I wish people could see the look on your face right now. You look almost disgusted.
I'm trying to figure out like how to explain this game. But it's been an entertaining little story so far.
Mhm.
I guess there's like a Wendigo somewhere in this game as well. So
Wendigo.
okay.
Think of Snow Bigfoot. There you go.
The Abominable Snowman, a Wampa.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Wampa. So I've been playing through that. I just started today. It's free on Game Pass. So I was playing that, and then I made an achievement run earlier today. Got 970 achievement points in 32 seconds.
Seriously?
Yep. On a game called Surviving Mars.
But those last 30 points have to be bugging you, right?
Yeah, they bug me a little bit, but for what I had to do to get them, I'm okay with it. And I can double dip on this one because it's also available on Game Pass Ultimate PC.
Oh, which I don't have access to,
Yep.
you jerk.
Wah wah. Sorry, Scott.
You jerk.
I will let you figure out how to do the achievements for this, Scott, because it's kind of a pain.
Okay.
It involves downloading certain mods.
Wait. For the Xbox version, you have to download mods?
Yes, you do. And
Okay.
apparently the company that makes the game keeps taking the mods down for you to do this. So you just have to know when the mods go up to get it.
Oh.
So it's kind of a convoluted, but once you activate the mods and then instantly all like my Xbox went nuts. It was just like achievement. It just started scrolling achievements and
Wow.
and it's like, oh yeah, you got 970 achievement points in 32 seconds. I was like, well, that's kind of crazy.
I like it. I'll have to check it out, see if I can do. What about you, Zach? Anything else you've been playing?
I beat The Last of Us just in time.
Oh, you actually played through the whole thing?
Yeah.
I did not. I went and watched the video.
Really?
I gave up.
Oh man, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Did you have the same feelings I did, or no?
I mean, you get used to the stealth more. The stealth is just clunky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no getting around it. The infected, aren't super great to interact with. But I do like the firefights quite a bit, like the hit and run kind of thing.
Yeah, I did enjoy
That's cool.
those.
I'd like to see that expanded on more. I think this game with competent stealth could be something truly excellent. I found so I marathon like all the Naughty Dog games in a row, right, for that Patreon episode.
You did. I just realized that. Yeah.
And some things really, really bother me, especially about The Last of Us. There are some very convenient coincidences in the storyline.
Such as
Over and over again. The one that really comes to mind is you're looking for Joel's brother in the game. Right? And he's like, yeah, I don't really know where Tommy lives in Colorado. And then they get ambushed. He's like, oh, hey, Tommy. Like, what?
Yeah, that's fair.
Or they get washed down river and the people that abandoned them somehow fished them out of a raging river.
I didn't play that
Off-screen.
far. I did get that far.
I remember that bugging the hell out of me the first time I played the game, but like after, because like, Uncharted is also filled with these kind of convenient
You
coincidences.
kind of expect it in an Uncharted game, though, because that's kind of like it's an action movie, right?
Right, it's kind of like pulpy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even there, it is annoying. But it's just patently absurd in The Last of Us.
Right.
So it made me come to this realization, like, Naughty Dog does incredible characters and character work, but I'm not so sold on their plot structure is weak.
Wow.
But anyway, beat The Last of Us. Plays fine. It's still, the gameplay is the excuse to get to the story. If I have to find if I have to find one ladder in the sequel, I might lose it.
The first time you get a ladder, I'm going to get a text, aren't I?
Oh my, yes, absolutely you will. Or find a pallet or whatever. It's it's just dumb. But
I'm just thinking now, like, the first scene, it's going to be like, oh, solve this puzzle with a box, pallet, and ladder. Go.
Yeah.
If they made fun of it, I'd be into it. They're like, we need to find a ladder, and like Ellie's friend is like, I have a rope, you dumbass. Like, that would be good.
That would be pretty good.
But the ending remains the finest ending to a video game I can think of.
It was really good.
It's exceptional. And it briefly made me mad all over again that they're doing a sequel. Because you knocked out of the park the first time at bat. Like, what a chance you're taking doing a follow-up to that storyline.
Well, we'll see. I have yet to hear a negative thing about it, people that have actually played it. So
yes, outside of your usual suspects.
Right. Well, yeah, there's always going to be some people that are
the trolls.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder if there's ever going to be a game where everyone's just like, "Yep, that was a great game."
I feel like
nobody disagrees.
Wasn't Breath of the Wild that?
Breath of the Wild.
I guess people complain now about weapon degradation, but it really felt like when that game came out, no one had a bad word to say about it.
The final boss fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
Does anybody have any negative to say about Spider-Man?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't think anybody did. That was universally positive.
Because even if you didn't think, it was like a 10 out of 10, like, it still just made you feel good.
Right.
Yeah, like,
people just play that game just to swing around the city and not even do anything.
Yeah, so that might be a good example. But anyway, if you guys been watching your Justified, you guys keeping up?
I didn't start yet.
I finished season 1.
Yeah. Oh man, what a show!
Well, I was planning to start Justified after I finished The Ranch, which I thought was only 3 seasons, and I had a few more episodes to finish. And I looked and realized there are 8 seasons of The Ranch, and so that kind of threw me for a loop. So I'm currently on season 5, and I'm hoping I want to get through that first because I really am enjoying that show.
Has the main character been killed off screen yet?
No. No.
Okay.
Not yet. I heard it happens in season 6, but
okay. I was gonna say I didn't know how long it took.
But it is quite funny seeing all these characters from that 70s show. I've seen Red, I've seen Kitty, I've seen Fez.
Really? Kitty's
and
great.
they figured out a way for Red to say his infamous line from the show.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
It's also fun because he's a total stoner, which cracks me up. Knowing
that's good. That's a fun little inversion.
Yeah, that was great.
Kitty is exactly the same.
Kitty is pretty much exactly the same. Yep, she likes to drink. But
can't believe we went to watch freaking The Ranch now.
No, trust me, I get it's a sitcom and it's about working on a ranch, but there's something about this show that just works.
It looks so network for a Netflix show.
It is, but it's so funny seeing a 20-minute sitcom using R-rated language like crazy.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
It's like jarring the first couple episodes when you do it, but the show actually has way more heart than I expected for a sitcom. It's real good. I mean, it's not like Ozark level of drama or anything, but
the fact that they even integrated like commercial break spots,
right?
It's like, fade to black. Oh yeah, there was a commercial that was supposed to be there.
Right?
Does it have a laugh track?
There is.
Yep. There's a laugh track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
It's not egregious though. It doesn't.
No, I'm at the point in my life where the laugh track has been gone for so long that I'm like, can we get the laugh track back?
Yeah, we can't make everybody happy. But I promise I will go back to Justified after I finish. That was next on my list. So, CB, what about you? Anything going on this week?
I finished Space Force.
Oh, did you? Is it good?
It's really good. That is.
I'm happy. I'm so happy to hear that because the internet's a bunch of jerks about that show.
Yeah, they are.
It's definitely got some moments that are really, really well written and comical, but there's other moments that are just like, wow, this feels weird.
Okay.
I never watched The Office, so I can't compare like that to this. But it's.
I watched one episode. It didn't feel office-y.
It's not for. Well, I watched one episode of The Office. Wasn't for me.
Well, if you started in season 1, that's the problem. That first season is 6 episodes, and it gets really good in like season 3. I know I hate it when people say that to me, but it really is.
I hate when people say just skip the first season, but get past the first season of The Office.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah.
Okay.
Although there are some one of my favorite pranks is in the very first episode. So.
No.
The stapler and the Jello that just made me laugh so hard the first time I saw that.
Anyway, I think season 9's not very good and has one of my favorite pranks with Asian Jim.
Oh man, that's so fun. That is so great. What are you doing, Dwight? He just plays it off.
What a good bit.
That's like the best part of the show is him doing pranks to Dwight. My favorite is when we sent him a fax from Dwight from the future.
Yes, future Dwight, yes.
So he sent Dwight a fax that was from himself in the future saying that somebody poisoned the coffee. So he's running around like shoving coffee out of people's hands. No! It was really funny because Dwight would believe that. Dwight would believe that future him would send himself a fax to protect everybody. Anyway, this turned into like a TV show thing for a second. But
hey, you know what? It's the recommendations of the outro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. The address, once again, is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.